I'd like to go ahead and call the Delaware County Commissioners meeting to order. It's Monday, August 6, 2018. The time is 9:01. Could everybody stand for the pledge, please? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Steve, could you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry.
Here.
Ms. Reagan.
Present.
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Brooks.
Here. We'll move to table of business. We have the Medicaid for the inmates agreement.
I finally received a executable copy from the state, and I forwarded it on to all of you for your review. The contract is that the when an inmate would go to the hospital for services, the county would have an obligation to sign that inmate up for Medicaid, Medicare, whatever, through the state, and the county would be using Open Door to do that because they're up there every day for the Open Door. And then the county would be responsible only for the state's portion of the cost. And then the state would pick up the federal government's portion of that. So it is a savings because if they're not signed up, then the county could be liable for the full cost of the medical treatment. So this could be a savings. I tried to see what kind of savings it would be. I'm still trying to work through some of the records because they're not real clear on what the costs are. I don't believe there's a whole lot of inmates going to the hospital, but there are some. So.
Does this cover when a policeman arrests someone and has to take them before they come to jail or not?
Yes, it would, because they would get signed up. They have to get signed up within so many days of being incarcerated.
Jason?
To Sherry's question, I'm not sure if another department or our department.
Well,
Yeah.
they're
I don't
on their
think-
way to jail, but
yeah.
yet they have to.
I don't think
If they-
we have to pay anything until we actually take custody.
Right, until they're booked
inside the
in.
jail.
Until they're booked in.
So if we take them prior to that, I believe
Right.
they get charged.
Okay, they
Not
cover
the county.
that.
Right.
Okay.
And then the other question that I have for you, at least to consider, I'm not looking for an answer today, is if we are doing this supplemental insurance, we're transporting those prisoners, and Mr. Brooks right, there's probably maybe one a week that we're taking to the hospital, maybe not quite that many, but we're doing it for free. If they do have insurance, something to consider is possibly trying to recoup some of that if it is Medicaid, Medicare, and we would begin to charge those inmates for that service. So just something to consider.
Well, but the county would be picking up the state's portion of that. So then that would just leave a little bit left for those services.
Okay.
So the county would still be paying for it. The state's not going to pick up that cost.
Right.
Okay.
We're reimbursing the state for their costs.
Okay. I know that we do it with DOC inmates, so. All right, thank you.
Okay. Would you guys like to take this off the table?
Yes, I'll make a motion, we remove it from the table.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. I'd like to have a motion and a,
I'll make a motion, we approve the agreement, the Medicaid agreement.
Second.
have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Denise, you have a copy of that, don't you?
What's it? Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Shoot, as soon as we sign it.
Sign.
Well,
Sign it today.
once you sign, then I have to send it to the state for their signature. There's got to get signed by the Attorney General and the head of the Bud agency, and
This time next year?
probably, maybe, yeah, probably. It took this long to even get a contract from them, so.
Yeah.
Appreciate your work on that.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Next, approval of minutes for July 16, 2018 and July 20, 2018, the special meeting.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for approval of both minutes. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we have contracts and agreements for approval. First one will be the bid opening of Bridge 268.
All right, we have,
Do you have your little?
we've got 4 bids, right, Angie? First one is from Duncan Robertson. They're out of Franklin, Indiana. Their bid total is $936,732.56. 936,732.56. Next is from HIS Constructors out of Indianapolis. Their bid amount is $756,946.37. 756,946.37. Next is Look and Bill out of Indianapolis. Their bid is $914,659.63, 914,659.63. Final one is Hoosier Pride Excavating out of Springport. Their bid is $1,085,444.03. 1,085,444.03.
I make a motion, we take the bid under advisement.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
You'll take a look at that?
Yeah, I'll look it
Angie?
over with my engineer and make sure all the required paperwork.
Good.
is in line. Thank you.
Came in a little higher than.
Next, we have the county utility reimbursement agreement for Bridge 268 from Indiana American Water.
This is in relation to the same project the bids were just opened. This is an agreement, we've entered into one before with the Tilson Avenue project. They will reimburse us 100% within 30 days of going to bid, or awarding the bid. So this is just a contract that they agree to pay us our money.
Okay.
This is for them to relocate their line and reattach to the bridge.
67,000.
That's what they're estimating it at.
So we go ahead and
I'll make a motion, we approve the reimbursement agreement.
second.
A motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Are there other utilities? This is just for the water.
Yes, and I don't have any others to deal with on that bridge project.
That's good.
I mean, they had a temporary relocate, the power company did, but nothing was formal.
Next, we have the consulting contract for county bridge inspection.
This is for our countywide inventory, our 4-year program. We advertise this through the NDOT process. It's been reviewed by NDOT, they've approved it. We will receive 80% back in federal funds, so it's a 20% match. The contract's not to exceed $541,114.29 with United Consulting.
I'll make a motion, we approve this agreement also.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we have Bridge 701 rehab agreement between owner and contractor.
Yes, you awarded the contract, or accepted the bid on June 18th. And this is just the formal contract. We are planning on having a pre-con meeting this week, and they hopefully will start construction next week.
Well, now what, remind us what bridge is
This
this?
is on Water Street in the town of Albany,
Oh, yeah.
by the park.
I move that we adopt 701 rehab agreement.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we have Bridge 127, LPA consulting contract.
This is for bridge replacement on 600 West over York Prairie Creek near Lone Beach Drive, if you're familiar with that location. We have followed the NDOT process, and I recommend that you award to GAI, which this has also been reviewed by NDOT and recommends approval as well. And the contract's not to exceed $220,320,
And that's just for the design.
just for design.
I move we adopt Bridge 127 designs from GI.
I'll second it.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Danner loan payoff agreement. John, you looked this over.
Yes, this is a loan payoff agreement. D.D. Danner entered into an economic development agreement with the county, and there was a loan in there of $150,000, which doesn't pay off till January of 2019. I think there was an approach made by Mr. Danner from the Redevelopment Commission to see about repaying that off and relinquishing the economic development agreement with the county. So we agreed to terms with Danner for the repayment. This releases any and all claims Danner may have, the county may have, and allows the parties to go their separate ways. The $150,000 loan is repaid back. And the only thing that's been paid up to this point has been interest, so.
I'll make a motion we approve the repayment agreement with Dana.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we have Ashton Land Surveyor.
Good morning, I'm Kathy from Ashton Land Surveyor at 325 West Washington Street, Muncie. We are in the process of doing a small minor plat called Brook Holder. You might have a copy of it. What we are doing is donating the 25 feet or dedicating the 25 feet on Walnut Street to the county. And that's the reason I'm here, so that you'll sign to accept that 25 feet along Walnut.
Basically what you're doing is dividing two lots, is that it?
That's right. Ordinance is 5 acres, I don't have to do a plat, but when I do 2 smaller tracts, I have to do a plat.
This has been discussed at our plat committee meeting last week, and this
Yes.
25 feet is
Okay.
It has been approved for pending your signatures.
I'll make a motion we approve the surveyor's request, the survey request.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we have the EMS agreement.
Yes, in front of you is the EMS agreement with the union for the EMS employees. This was a long and rather arduous negotiation, but it's my understanding from Jason Rogers and the union president, this has been approved and ratified by the membership. Now it's subject to the approval by the commissioners. I want to thank Jason and Rick Spangler and Mike Ashley there for the assistance in putting this all together. Jason feels that it's a good contract that will benefit the department and the employees. So
I'll make a motion we approve the contract agreement with EMS.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Thanks everybody that worked on that.
Yeah.
Next, we'll move to department heads and elected officials. Jason?
First, I'd like to, Jason Rogers, Delaware County Emergency Management Director. I would like to thank Mr. Brook. I found out what a coordinator he really is in those meetings, so I appreciate his help with that. I want to give you a report on the Gov Deals auction site. We continue to put things up that you've approved. We are moving towards other departments now, and Jim Fluke from the IT department has submitted several pallets of things. And if, Jim, you want to talk about what you're ready to put up?
Jim Flood from the IT. We went through our surplus of equipment that we've had from all the computers we've updated in the last 2 years. And I've got right now a pallet of 80 old PCs that we're going to put on there. We pulled the hard drives out of them, so there'll be no information going out with these. And then I've got 5 old printers that we've had from old legacy machines that we've kept downstairs, and try to get rid of those. I do have about 3 or 4 other pallets of equipment down there, but I asked Jason just to try to run this first pallet through of 80 to see how it goes in the auction. And if it goes, then we'll put the rest of them on down the road as we get them ready to send out.
Thanks.
Good, thanks.
The other thing, the last thing I want to report on is the ambulance that we sold and got significant bids on and was awarded wasn't paid for. And the process is we have now deleted that bidder from the ability to, and this is all set up through Gov Deals, but when they don't pay for the item, then we have the authority to forbid them to delete or to bid on anything else from Delaware County. And John has done that with this particular bidder, and then that truck is going to go back on auction. And it will be concurrent with Jim's items, so it'll be put back up.
Okay.
Are you pleased with the process of how the money's returned? and
So
going
far,
in?
so interesting, I mean, we've learned a little bit along the way each time, but once it's paid for, Gov Deals receives the money,
Right.
and then we don't receive a check until those individuals pick it up. So we've, as an example, the chassis that was sold to a towing and recovery service out of just north of Chicago, it took them almost a month to pick it up. So it sat on our lot, and we had the ability to, again, then deny them the pickup after 10 days, but it was something that we really wanted to get rid of. We knew that they would take it. So John was in constant communication, and as long as people are communicating with us, then, we don't have a problem with working with them a little bit, and that was agreed upon. So once that left, then about 5 days later, we got a check. So I need to get with Donna and talk about how because I believe all this is going to go back into the general fund, and then alert, those particular departments, as to what's been coming back in for them, so.
John, I was thinking they could go back into if it was like a highway or a sheriff, one of their funds, that it could go back into that fund. But Steve, did you think that was going to be too much paperwork maybe to keep track of it?
I think it's verified to put it back into general fund and disperse it back out.
Well,
It goes back to, by SBOA account records, it goes back in the general fund.
so it does come into the fund, then
Yeah.
it's going back out to the fund.
It goes back in the general fund.
It has to go to the general fund and then be reappropriated by council.
Right.
Right, so they just request it.
Yes.
Okay, to the fund. Sounds good. Appreciate it. Have we gotten any closer to the highway department, getting some stuff cleaned up?
So now that John's moved through the IT stuff and and that's the one thing too, it does take some time, so the departments have to have their equipment ready. We meet with them and tell them how it needs to be done, as far as we have a form that they fill out for us to be able to build the Gov Deals auction itself. There's very specific requirements as far as the digital content, the pictures or video or whatever that goes with that. So making sure that we can get that all uploaded is a bit of a process just to get it. But once they're set up, then it's going to go pretty quickly. The highway department is probably our next department that we're going to move to, and then we've been talking with Greg Ellison from the sheriff's department as well. So it's taken a little more time because it is a little more tedious than we first thought, but I think once it's all set up, it becomes relatively easy.
Right. Well, appreciate your work on this.
The one thing I would ask the pallets of computers is that you make a motion to declare it surplus.
I make a motion we approve, everybody's got a copy of the list. I make a motion we approve the items for all things.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Steve, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll get those put up this week. Thank you.
Next, on July 27th, the Delaware County Courts, they were closed due to a water issue for most of the day. They didn't have any water. The judges contacted me, asking me if they could shut the building down. It was approved. So if anybody has any questions, that is the reason why they were shut down, because there was no water to the building. And also the following night on the 28th, they had a water line bust that was corroded and ended up and soaked one of the court's offices, so just so everybody knows.
Unrelated to the issue the day before.
Yep. So, that being said, we'll move on to monthly and weekly reports. Commissioners, you received your report from Weights and Measures.
Yes.
Thank you.
Move the payment of claims in the amount of $2,935,353.65.
So moved.
Second.
Have motion and second for payment of claims. Steve, can you call the roll?
Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we'll move to comments from the public.
I have a quick question. Nate Jones, Delaware County VA. Excuse me. I am actually here today to request to see if we're going to be partnering with Penny Leach from the Muncie Home Ownership and Revitalization, and we are looking to try to get a couple houses off the county commissioners to put veterans in those homes after they're rebuilt, and didn't know if you guys would be willing to help us out. And Penny's here for any questions if you have those too.
Yeah, we've got a few questions for her, because there's a possibility that if the commissioners hold deed to it, and she's a nonprofit organization and she has the right documentation, we could actually probably just give the properties to them.
Great. What is she?
Yeah.
John?
Morning.
Morning. Is it the 501c we need to
Right.
find out they have?
For the commissioners to be able to deed property without having to go through the process of offering it to the public and stuff, they can offer it to not-for-profit tax-exempt entities. So the commissioners would need the proof of that tax-exempt status,
Okay.
so that they can then make the award. And they can make the award. They have to make the award in a public meeting, which they would probably do at the next meeting.
Right.
If the documentation can come in. So
Where should I send that documentation?
you can send it to Jenny, who'll get it over to me. Jenny, how you got the office manager there
Okay.
for the commissioners? Just a copy of the 501c3 letter, or 501c4, whatever you are. Okay.
501c3.
Okay, good. That's great. Even better. And then I'll need to know from Nate the property so we can prepare the deeds. Okay?
We'll get them to you.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's on the properties now?
It's vacant land at this time.
Okay, so you're gonna build 2 homes for,
Actually, it's 2 lots, but they're both showing the address 1605 East Main Street. And the home we're building does require 2 lots because it's 40 feet wide.
okay.
So we require 2 lots. So it'd be 1 home built in the middle of the 2 lots.
For a veteran, correct?
That's correct.
I think it's great.
I do too.
Great program.
Yeah. Yeah, just get us that documentation. If we get it, then our next meeting, we can vote to just donate the property to you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marta, if there's one address for both properties, that'd be already combined, wouldn't it?
Yes, I believe it.
Are they already combined? Okay.
And the other thing is that when a building permit is obtained, they call over, and then we issue an official address for the new home at that time. So yeah, either way, it'll be tracked.
Okay. Looks like it's got one
Yeah.
ID number, so it looks like the two
Yeah.
lots are already combined.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Any more comments from the public?
Yeah, I think Jason's here to fill us in on the Mississinawa River cleanup.
Yep, correct. Good morning, Commissioners. Commissioner Reagan asked me to do an update related to the Mississinawa River cleanup. I have some flyers that I'll leave up here. Basically, we're calling for volunteers to come help revive Mississinawa River cleanup. It will be Saturday, August 18th from 8 a.m. to noon, and it will be in Eaton, Indiana. We will be starting at West Rock, which is formerly Rock 10. That's where we'll be parking and starting and putting canoes and everything in the water. We'll be walking in the water, floating in canoes, all to a private property, the Klinger property, which is on the other side of 3, where we will pull everything out, put all of the trash and debris into a dumpster, separate tires, and have a lunch there on that property. We will also work with, I think it's Eaton EMS, to help transport back to West Rock. So volunteers who are walking through the river will have a ride back to where their car or vehicle will be. This is planned to happen rain or shine, with the exception of severe weather, obviously, and if there's a lot of substantial rainfall before leading up to it and it's dangerous, we will likely cancel that, but get it out to all the networks to let everyone know that. There's a pre-registration required, so we have an idea for lunch, as well as we would like to see 50 to no more than 100 people. The way it's going to work too is it's a lot different than the White River cleanup. If you've ever done the White River cleanup, with the White River cleanup, it's 15 miles of river in the city, and you can walk along the banks. With this being in Eaton and on the Mississinawa, there's not really access to banks, so we'll be walking directly in the water with canoes alongside us, putting the debris into the canoes. So you will get wet and dirty and all that, and we do recommend at least 10 years and up, and with a parent. If a parent feels comfortable volunteering with the family, because we've already had some inquiry about that, that it preferably 10 years and up, and that the parent will be with them during that process to help do all that. So that's the update there. I think there's video, right, that people will see this on maybe
Yes.
a local access channel. If you do want to register, the link is tinyurl.com/Mississinawa cleanup. And we also have a Facebook event for it that has a hyperlink to the registration page through the Stormwater Management Facebook page. Or if you just search in Facebook Mississinawa River Cleanup, you'll likely find that event and all that information. So that's it.
And if anybody has a canoe or a flat boat, want to bring John, if you're not doing anything that day, bring your canoe down.
I got a couple of them.
Yeah, we will. If you want to bring what we call freelance canoe or I mean, kayaks, the idea with the floating devices is that you put the debris in it. So kayaks don't necessarily work that well with that, but yeah, a flatbed boat or a canoe, if you want to bring that, you're welcome. Otherwise, we're doing registration too, to know how many volunteers, because we will be renting canoes.
Yes.
So that's, and we'll have 25 canoes likely, so that's 50 people technically, 2 per canoe. So.
This is just a start, so maybe next year we can expand it, but first time we really organized it.
Yeah, the last time we did it was quite a few years ago in Albany, and it was pretty successful. And with the Mississinawa having so many different places to clean, we'll probably pick specific areas each year, but we are trying to revive this as an annual event.
So bring your football team or volleyball team and
Yep.
have a good time. Thanks, Jason, for attending today.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was putting him on your presentation, but I didn't know he got back with you.
Well, I didn't know for sure. So, Okay.
Anyone else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to recess.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye.